Actually, I don't recall very well my last interaction with him. As I have said, I was very young when it happened, but my last interaction of him, we actually never talked, but I saw him, and it is an image I will change because I saw him at the most vulnerable point of his life, because it was the morning of his death. So if I was to change that moment, I would change it to see him at a time that he was strong and not at a time that he was at his weakest.
Have you ever wondered how life could have been with a time travel machine? We are all faced with a life-changing dilemma that ripples through time, affecting the course of our lives forever. Often at times, we may be tempted to ponder over the possibilities of how our lives could have turned out had these events not occurred. Unfortunately, certain occurrences in life have no take-backs. We are often dealt with losses that interfere with our plans, both short and long term. My definition of grief is an inevitable process that everyone goes through when they lose a loved one. The toughest stage of grief, according to me, is depression. With depression, that's when it really hurts the most. I'm not saying all other stages are less of the intensity that someone experiences, but with depression, that's when most people close off. With worse off cases, it could lead to suicide. Yeah, that's my most wanting stage. Do I wish I didn't experience it? Of course. I wish I never experienced it because I lost someone dear to me. That happened in 2018. I lost my father, and it really hurt. I think when it happens to you, it hits home. If I will redo my last interaction, first off, I will treasure every single moment that I had with every member of my family, because I realize nothing is promised, tomorrow is not promised. So I'll treasure every single moment. One moment I remember which was chaotic was the anger stage. I remember losing my temper to most people that I loved, and with most of them, they didn't know what I was going through, so they didn't know what exactly was happening, but I really hope I shared more. Yeah, there are many places that I did feel vulnerable. One particular one was in public. I remember crying, and I tried my best to hide my tears, and I really hope no one saw me because I was really at my weakest.
Personally, I will define grief as a journey that has no specific destination. For example, it's a process that you experience, but you never know exactly at what point you're supposed to not experience it. So to me, it's just a lifetime journey that you have to cope with for the rest of your life. I know several types of grief, particularly because I've gone through them. I know traumatic grief, and I know normal grief, which most of us are familiar with. I also know prolonged grief. Yeah, those are the ones I could say I know. I have experienced normal grief, and I have also experienced traumatic grief. But the one I will talk about is the normal grief, because I lost someone who was very dear to me. I lost my dad. That was in 2011. Sometimes you have to wish you never experienced grief. Who would want to experience grief? So yeah, there are moments I wish I never experienced it, because it happened to me when I was very young. So there are those episodes you'll definitely get. Actually, I don't recall very well my last interaction with him. As I have said, I was very young when it happened, but my last interaction of him, we actually never talked, but I saw him, and it is an image I will change because I saw him at the most vulnerable point of his life, because it was the morning of his death. So if I was to change that moment, I would change it to see him at a time that he was strong and not at a time that he was at his weakest. I don't recall the type of relation I had with people during the time of that loss, because mostly I was isolated. I never interacted with people after we lost Dad. There was really never conversations revolving around the loss. There were never interactions between me and my family members during the time. So there was zero interactions revolving around his death. Many times I have had breakdowns in public places. I have had breakdowns in school, especially because I was young at the time. So all through primary school, all through high school, I had moments where I would break down in the classroom, where I would break down in the bus. Yeah, I had many occasions where I broke down in public places.
My name is Slavia Mbuga.
And I am Wanjan Joroge.
This is 254 Jisha.
We are spreading the wings of comfort.